A recent report in the Boston Globe found that Latinos in Massachusetts face intense inequality. What's happening in our region, and what, if anything, is being done to change that? Nelson Rafael Roman, Executive Director of Nueva Esperanza, sat down with me to share his thoughts on the matter.
My initial reaction to the Globe report was that it's spot on, and in some cases here in Western Mass, it's more exacerbated and more felt in a more dire situation. But I felt that it's extremely accurate to say that this is true, and this is reality for a lot of Latino communities here in Western Mass as well. And the fact that from the Globe report, whether it was education or undocumented individuals or even the median income levels, everything in the Globe report is 100% accurate.
Let's look at some of those specific numbers, and then we'll talk about what you know them to be here in Western Mass. So the median income, as pointed in the Boston Globe report, says that Latino households statewide earn about $39,700 compared to whites that earn $89,000 or so. 25% of the Latinos in Massachusetts own a home compared to 69% of whites. And then when we look at the unemployment rate, 12%. Let's look at unemployment rate first.
In South Holyoke, which is the census tract closest to Main Street in Holyoke, that is a 45% unemployment rate, according to city data. 45%. Yeah, so when you take the average of the citywide, of course, it looks super low, or the statewide averages, but in some local communities like Holyoke, right, or even Springfield, in these pockets of census tract where there's a super high concentration of Latinos, you could see upwards of over 20% unemployment rates. So what do we do to combat that? We formed neighborhood associations 3 years ago that have done super localized hiring contracts with companies. So a lot of these new marijuana companies that are coming into Holyoke, or we have the new Demented FX Haunted House, they've hired super hyper-localized hiring contracts within the neighborhoods.
And the casino in Springfield, look at the casino in Springfield. The petition that they signed, or the agreement, host agreement they signed with the city requires that they hire local first.
Exactly. Or in the case of Holyoke, they built their new culinary arts center right in downtown, and they're giving up to 12 to 15 free tuition scholarships to individuals from the city of Holyoke to go get their culinary certificate. So that's another great example.
We're short on time, so I want to bring in immigration. So immigration in the Globe report points out that there are about 63,000 undocumented Latinos in the state of Massachusetts. Does that immigration status prevent people from working within systems and trying to improve themselves?
Literally within these last couple of years, and within the Globe report, this last recent national election, you've seen a decline in individuals who are undocumented wanting to come out or get services or even sign up for English classes or go get welfare benefits or really get the assistance they need to truly help themselves because they're scared for deportation at such exacerbated level.
On the other side of that issue, there are people here who either have gotten in line and have gone through the legal system to become a documented person here in the country, or there are American citizens who say the law is the law.
Whether you're a legal documented Puerto Rican who's coming here as a weather refugee or as an economic refugee, or if you're coming from a country that just so happens to not have the documentation needed, like from Central America or Latin America, you're still coming here for opportunities. So for me, we have to be who we say we are in the Statue of Liberty. We have to be a country that welcomes our tired, our sick, our hungry, our poor, and just let them in and allow them that due process. But still, I think to just completely cast them out or say, hey, you're wrong for being here is not a good thing. We see that a lot of those individuals are working and sending almost 90% of their income back to their country to either take care or help their families or have their families come here legally. So
let's look at education. So there was a law passed in November that said, school districts, you no longer have to teach in English first. You can teach in that person's native tongue. Statewide, a third of students have English as their second language. As I understand it, there are quite a few Spanish speakers in the education system here. Is it enough? What's the process there?
So it's huge in Western Mass, and the fact that the bilingual education got eliminated back in the 90s was really a detriment and really added to this, I think, Boston Globe report. It truly separated the fact that, listen, a lot of times I know in the city of Holyoke, almost 73% of children when they go home, their family's first language sometimes are Spanish only or another language only.
In English.
Exactly, they're learning in English, but their primary language when they go home is Spanish, or when they were being brought up and raised, it's Spanish. So bilingual education needs to come back. Transitional bilingual education immediately needs to come back, in my opinion. And the other thing was the dual language program that the report brought up, right? That there was these dual language programs that exist. Holyoke has one, but it's in a neighborhood that's so far from the larger Spanish Latino speaking population that they really struggled to get those individuals to sign up. And everybody's just like, Nelson, how do we get more Latinos into the dual language program from down the hill? Well, if a mother with 3 kids doesn't have a car and it's all the way up the hill, she's not going to sign up for that program. program. So I believe that I'm happy that the state of Massachusetts repealed the elimination of bilingual education. Now we have to implement it, and that's a conversation we've had with Dr. Zreich, the receiver from the Holyoke Public Schools, and the school committee. How do we make that more accessible?
One of the things that really stood out to me was this issue around colleges, and that Latinos didn't, many people don't know that if you're a Latino student with good grades, you can get a full tuition scholarship to Northeastern University. Are people even aware of that?
No, and it's actually funny you say that. My partner actually is a graduate of Northeastern University, so he only found that out while he was at Holyoke Community College. And that is actually where I think Western Mass really shines. HCC and SDCC really are outreaching to the Latino communities in ways that I think other institutions in Massachusetts should really emulate.
Another thing that was pointed out in the Globe story is that people feel invisible. I know that you've been here about a decade, right? But your first 2 years in this country, you were homeless.
Yeah, so when I came out to Western Mass, I stood in a tent off of 391 in Holyoke, and I struggled, and I felt invisible. And when I would go to welfare and have to wait in line, or I myself, back then there was the home-based program for single individuals with no dependents. So the state of Massachusetts helped me get on my feet. That program is now all but gone. And when I went into these welfare offices or I went down to the unemployment office, it was all Latinos or people of color. And so I really felt like I was just a number, but I also felt like I was in just a sea of Latinos. Like we were the ones in struggle. And so after that, I got into organizing in the LGBT community and the Latino community to try to change that fact. But yeah, I felt invisible, and still to this day, I still feel invisible sometimes.
So your organization, Nueva Esperanza, loosely translated New Dawn or New Hope, even in the face of all of these seemingly very negative statistics, not even seemingly, very negative statistics, do you still have hope? Do you still express that hope to others?
We sure do, and that's why I'm so proud to lead this organization and proud of the fact that even in our mission now, we completely changed our mission to say we exist to be a catalyst and a partner for a vibrant and sustainable and powerful Puerto Rican Afro-Caribbean community. We're doing that through community development, through cultural awareness and excitement, and leadership development. And the Globe report said that. There's not enough civic engagement. Nueva Esperanza, we are working to do that.
You tick a lot of those boxes, right, that are pointed out in the Globe. You came from Puerto Rico, you're politically active, and you run a nonprofit.
That's right, that's right. And we're still active every day, and we're trying to increase the low to moderate income housing stocks. We're working with Springfield Neighborhood Housing Services to create more home ownership, first-time home buyers classes in Spanish, one-on-one credit counseling. We're working with these agencies now. All the marijuana companies that are opening and coming into Holyoke come through our doors. We're partnering with MGM to find Latino qualified candidates from Holyoke and Western Mass. So we are New Hope, and that's what Nueva was founded on 35 years ago. We're the oldest Latino organization in Holyoke, but look at Springfield, New North Citizens Council. You have the South End Center. You have Gandara Center. You have all of these rich, and Las de Familias, Nuestras Raíces. Western Mass has a rich amount of Latino organizations, and the state doesn't necessarily have that. But just within our two communities, there's a big pocket. But look at communities like Chicopee that's seeing a large Latino population. East Hampton just elected their first Puerto Rican city councilor. Northampton, Casa Latina, right? So we still have work to do.
Are you more optimistic for Western Massachusetts after reading this, what's happening in Boston?
I am, because I think we're ahead of the curve. We are now working together as organizations, Latino organizations, to say, hey, what we're doing. So for example, Enlace de Familias en Betty, she's the Family Resource Center working on those individuals in the school, but also those Puerto Rican migrants coming in. Nueva Esperanza, we're the culture and the community development piece, and we're still focused on the island of Puerto Rico. And Nuestras Raíces is all about farming. And we're working on meeting right after this with Providence Ministries Executive Director on food access and food justice. So we're coming together in a more strategic way that I'm not sure the rest of the state is doing, but come look at Holyoke. For Hurricane Maria relief and for individuals coming, the state governor's office and the emergency management team said, look at Holyoke, look at Western Mass. They're the leaders in this forefront.